Happy Monday. Bronze to gold above 50% win rates, less than 5,000 dust. Let's climb the standard ladder without needing a second job. Mini set came out a few days ago, and it's essentially been Mage's Day, Mage's Week, Mages all around. Everybody else didn't really get anything good of the mini set. Of course, there's a lot of changes that probably we'll see made in the next few days. I mean, I would imagine they're going to make some sort of balancing act pretty soon. You know, soon is a date, is a number, is something out here. We don't know when, so we'll just have to deal with it right now. For a budget player, buying mini set has been, for the last 5 mini sets, awesome. This one, I still think it's good for a budget deck. For a budget player, but the thing is I think right now the best part about it is you get all this dust you can craft. We're going to talk about all of the cards. Yeah, it's an interesting one. So looking at this, we see this, no shock here. Mage, Demon Hunter, Warlock Hunter, Paladin is all the way down. So while I still think Paladin has some good stuff going for it, everybody's playing everything else, and I would believe that Warlock has bumped up a little bit, only because of maybe a couple of the adjustments that were made to the mini set. You know, they did have some problems with the cube, so I think people are trying to get some cube action going. Across the board, we'll see what happens there. In terms of the classes right now, I put last 3 days, I put bronze to gold. We're going to talk about this. You know, we have Corpsicle doing well for Death Knight, Razzle doing well for Death Knight Frost. You know, one thing I don't see really is, you know, I don't see Plague doing amazingly well. Plague was really good for a bit. It's just out of favor for other archetypes. Demon Hunter still has Pirate. Pirate is good. Pirate is very cheap to play, so if you're looking for that, that is absolutely an option for you. Druid still has, you know, quite a few decks. Dragon, Highlander barely at 50.2. Treant's doing well. Hunter's got several items. So Secret Hunter, we've talked about this one multiple times. This one's doing great. Highlander's doing great, but it's like 20,000 dust to play. Spell Token Hunter is now at 56%. Mage is, I mean, look at this right here. Big Spell, Elemental. You have a little bit of Spell Mage, like this 45.9%. There is some spell mage decks being played right now. I think the only reason why the win rate's not that high is because everybody's playing big spell mage. And yes, you can play big spell mage as a budget player. It's pretty easy to do. Paladin still has some great win rates with hand buff, flood, and mining. You know, hand buff being 59% and flood being 60%. They're good decks. They're cheap decks. They have a lot of opportunities going further than bronze through gold, so I wouldn't go too crazy on that. Priest has Zarimi and Heal. Those are expensive decks. If you're a budget player, I don't see you talking about those for too long. Rogue also. Rogue is just, yeah. It's funny, I mentioned this before. You know, the best cards right now in the biggest class in Mage right now are the Rogue cards, and Rogue can't catch a break. Rogue can't buy a win. Shaman, look at this. Shaman across the board. I wish Shaman had a little bit of cheaper decks, because this is all very, very expensive. But you got Highlander, Evolve, Elemental, Pirate, Big, and Rainbow. That's really good. If you love Shaman, you're doing well. Pain Warlock and Insanity Warlock. Maybe I was wrong on the cube thing. Maybe it's just that it's just easier to beat those because those are burst. I don't know. I mean, we have been seeing for a while now that there's a lot of OTKs and just a lot of, you know, really fast, super powerful decks. And Pain and Insanity Warlock are 2 of those. And Warrior's got Highlander, but you're only playing that if you have a boatload of dust, and Odin is barely at 50%. Barely. The popularity is 1.7%. Only 6,200 games, so I don't see you playing a Warrior a bit. So what I normally do is I normally go through a couple of deck codes, and I really just want to go over this week, only because the mini set is what it is and what it's done. Just go through some of the decks that are being played now as a budget player and see what their win rates are. I will throw a few deck codes, but a lot of this, you know, for the mini set, if you're not playing big spell mage right now, if you bought the mini set and are not playing that, You don't need any cards as a budget player right now. I haven't seen any in any of these decks that I've been looking through. So for Death Knight, you've got Unholy. Unholy has 0 dust only because it's all of the cards that you've already seen before. Nothing new in that one. Hand Buff and Frost and Death Rattle. Those are a couple of options there, and then you run into the 5,000 or more. But if I go through and I click on at least one new card, there's nothing below 5,000 dust. So to me, I don't see Death Knight being something that I would use with the new mini set. So maybe you don't need it. You can still win games. Demon Hunter really just has Pirate. You know, Pirate's 4,400. There's only like 1-2 versions below 5,000 dust that'll get you anywhere. It's still a viable deck. You can win games on turn 4, turn 5. Super powerful, very bursty. I'm not a personal fan of it, but it is a pretty good deck. It's not crazy difficult to pilot. Let's look at Druid, and Druid's going to be a little bit of the same thing. So yeah, we've got Dragon, we've got Treant. Both of those we've talked about before. But if I go through it, if I click at least one new card, it's just ramp and ramp and ramp, and that's it. And each one is 11,000 dust. So don't see anything there. Hunter's always expensive, and we've talked about this. Secret Hunter is about the only thing that's nothing crazy. Amalgam's great, but I don't see it being amazing right now with all of the other decks that are being played. You're just going to get rolled pretty quickly. But yeah, Secret has some potential, but if we throw in that at least one new card, look, nothing below 5,000 dust. Nothing whatsoever. Mage, big spell Mage. You know, the cool thing about Mage as a budget player is you have a lot of options if you're talking about Mage. Look at this. Elemental. There's multiple versions of Elemental Mage. There's Spell Mage. There's Big Spell Mage. They're all below 5,000 dust. There's, you know, some of them are using the new cards, the Portal Mancer Ryla. It's a very good opportunity for you if you like Mage. Paladin has hand buff, Flood, hand buff. There's even some Earthen in there, but if I put at least one new card, no deck found with new cards. So, you know, the mini set was not good to Paladin. Let's see, Priest. You know, Priest, no matter what I do, there's not a deck below 5,000. Maybe we can cheat one of these out and take 1 or 2 of these cards out, but I wouldn't want to. The deck is just really well put together, and any card that I see in here is going to be something that you're going to want. Same thing with Heal Priest, too. I mean, you can cheat out some stuff, but who wants to play Heal Priest with some of these legendaries missing? It's just not going to work. Rogue, you know, listen, there's Weapon Rogue. Absolutely, you could play Weapon Rogue right now. So there's a couple of... No, there's only one. So there's Weapon Rogue that you can play at 2160 dust, at 61.8% win rate. Let's see, it's got Sharp Shipment, so this is one that's new. Yeah, there's some option here. There's only 210 games played, and let's keep an eye out on that one. That one seems like interesting things could happen for that. Maybe we'll have some movement there. Shaman is just the same thing. Look, Shaman, no matter what you do, the lowest costing deck is 6,560 dust. And again, as I'm looking through the cards, I don't know. This one could actually work because, because Kalamos is a core card. So maybe this will get some games going. Only 530 games though, so don't go too crazy. And we've talked about Elemental Shaman in the last video. Warlock. Insanity, Sludge, and look, I'll bet you there's very little, if no new cards in these. There's a Mining at 12,000, a Demon Warlock at 14,000. There's nothing here with the new mini set cards that are for a budget player. Same thing here. Odin, yeah, 8,800 and, 8,800 dust, and that's about it. There's a Dummy Warlock. Yeah, no one's playing that one. It's got a 40% win rate. I wouldn't do that. So, again, I normally say that the mini set is awesome, and it is. You have 2 wins here. Number one, you're going to buy the mini set. You're going to have a lot of cards that are going to help you refine the decks. It's just not there right now. I don't know why it's not there right now. I'm not an expert here, but I'm showing you here from like the entire time that this has been out. These are the cards. It's Portalmancer Skylet in 13% of all decks being played. That's telling you something. And then Dream Planner right after. Turbulus is 2%. And then after Agency Espionage at 1%, Robocollar. There's just nothing in these decks. They're not huge at all. Carnivorous Cubicle only is in 1% of decks right now. Still early. Don't go too crazy. Would I still suggest the mini set for gold as a budget player? Absolutely, because some of these cards are just not working, so that's just an opportunity for you to use them as dust. And you could use the dust right now to get the decks that you want to build. You probably, if you play, several games a day or what have you, or pretty consistent in that, you'll be able to get that going and have that 2,000 dust. And it's an easy way to get cards that'll work, or to get dust that will work for you as well. And I did go through too. So Big Spell Mage, if you're a budget player, one of the things I wanted to do is when you're a budget player, it's still 6,000 dust. It's still 6,000 dust. That is pretty expensive. But, I'm seeing here, King Tide is a card I don't think is an absolute necessity for this. You could probably get away without doing that. And I went through on HS Guru and I pulled some of this. There's a Big Spell Mage for 4480 dust. And it doesn't have, obviously it has Portalmancer, but it does not have King Tide. Looks like it has Stargazer Luna in there instead of core card. You will not have to spend that money. And then here's another one at 4680. They put Nomelia in there for just like an AoE burst killing off the side of the board, which is actually a pretty good idea. If you're not playing that card, you should definitely put it in your repertoire as a budget player because they're just great cards. All of those Warcraft Rumble cards are just amazing. They're Conniving Conman is hilarious that it is so good in Big Spell Mage, but it's not seeing play in Rogue. And then the next thing, what was the other one? Dirty Rat's also a good one in here. Miracle Salesman, Sea Shield, that's another one. This one's awesome, but it's just not doing anything for Rogue. Again, I think Rogue will see some things done to it. I think we will get some sort of adjustments sooner than later. It can't just be a big spell mage meta right now. It wouldn't be a good idea. Look at let's see here. So I'll go to travel agency, I'll go to standard, I'll go to all, I'll look at popularity. This is how crazy it is right now. Okay, and obviously it's only been a few days. Big Spell Mage, 23% popularity. Highlander Warrior, 7% popularity. It just dips. There's literally 3 times as many of the most popular deck than there is the second most popular deck played right now. That's telling. And this is the first time I've ever really seen this. I've only been doing this for 2 years, but I've also been I've been playing the game and very, very watching everything very, very closely for a while now, and I don't see anything like this in terms of a mini set. Usually mini set has every legendary or like 3 legendaries and a bunch of epic cards are just really, really busted, make some crazy combos, and I just don't see it right now. Still think it's a good deal. Still would say yes, buy it. I'm gonna throw some of these decks and just the deck codes below like we normally do. Yes, you could still play Big Spell Mage. Play Big Spell Mage. There's a possibility they're going to nerf it, doing something crazy. Maybe they're going to give it 7 mana, 6 mana as opposed to, whatever it is now. It's at 5 mana. So maybe they'll buff it that way. I can't think of any other thing that they would do besides changing the amount of mana it's available. So that's it. That's all I have. We'll see what happens, and I'm definitely gonna do like a midweek report this week, probably around Wednesday, to see how it goes and if we have any changes in the meta with any balance changes or anything like that. I don't think it's gonna happen immediately, but I will let you know as well. See you in the next video.